feel free to put them in the chat box and I'll bring them up, or we can stop and pause for questions or whatever. We'll just take our time here today. But we have Jane Miller with us, and Jane is a retired registered dietitian, and she's also the Diabetes Coalition coordinator in Clay County, Tennessee. And I've known Jane for at least 15 years, and her kindness and gentle spirit has always been contagious. I've always enjoyed your company and your friendship, Jane. Jane has been married to her husband, Dennis, for 52 years, and together they have a daughter, a son, 6 grandchildren, and 5 great-grandchildren. And I thought, just for fun, I would give you some interesting facts about Jane. She was a cheerleader at her local high school there in Salina, Tennessee, which is right where you're presenting from today. It's in that very same little town. Also, she was very active in many social clubs and enjoyed participating in theater in her junior and senior years at high school. And this is interesting too. Jane was also the boatman queen in 1968, as well as the Betty Crocker Award winner in the same year. Now, you'll have to tell us a little bit about that if we've got time today. And she was also a Sunday school teacher for many years at the Church of Christ in Moss, Tennessee. And there's lots and lots of things I've learned over the years about Jane. But one thing for sure, she loves to volunteer and do great things in her community. And she's going to tell us her story today about how collaborating with local healthcare and community organizations and working together promotes and supports healthy lifestyle activities in her community. And so, Jane, I'm going to turn it over to you and Mr. Young, and we'll go from there.
Okay. Are we sitting at the right places where you can get us okay?
I can see you both very clearly. And I can hear you just as well, so it's great. Thank you.
Well, this is Dr. Doug Young, and he was the guidance counselor. He's the one that handed me the Betty Crocker Award when I got it. He called me out of class and took my picture, and he said he was taking a picture of the Betty Crocker Award winner.
Awesome.
She stole my story. I was going to talk about us being in school together.
That he's was a guidance counselor, and he's always guided me around. And he was in the Lions Club with my husband, and I was active in the Lions Club, although I wasn't a member. But anyway, I enjoyed being with all of them. And what else do I? Oh, the boatman was the name of the yearbook. And the yearbook had a queen, and that's what the boatman queen was. And it's because we have the Cumberland River, and it's because that was how the city was founded, you know, on the river, and and everybody had their living with the boats and everything. So
nice. Well, thank you for that information. You're so interesting. Your whole county is. And I'm just really excited that that you were able to be our presenter this afternoon. And so we'll just turn it over to you.
okay, so we need to start now then?
Sure.
Okay, well, let's see. I've got a list of the contacts, the people that we contacted when we first started to see if they would partner with us. And I wanted to tell you who they were so that other people might get you know, an idea from that. It's the Clay County Partnership Chamber of Commerce for Clay County and Salina, and Dr. Young is the director of that. And he always helped us when we needed something. We could come and he was ready to help us, and we sure do appreciate him. And, you know, if it was me or Sheila or Dean, it didn't matter who it was, he was ready to help us. And he always had a little money, and he gave us the money to buy these aprons, and we gave them out to the people. And I didn't give him one all those years ago. I forgot about it. And so I found this one this morning. It's a brand new one. And I brought it for him, but I decided I'd wear it.
All right.
But anyway, we had the Chamber of Commerce, the Cumberland River Hospital. That was the local hospital here. And we also had the Cookville Regional Hospital, and the Cookville Hospital owned the Salina Hospital. And so we used a lot of their people both ways, because they would come over to help at Salina, and so we got the help of a regional hospital in our local hospital. The Clay County Anti-Drug Coalition, the Clay County Public Library, the Salina Lions Club, the Print Mart in Livingston, Tennessee. They helped us with a lot of our printing. We did a calendar, and it was a calendar every month, and it showed the holidays in it and everything. And somebody else had done it in the group, and they showed it, and we brought it home and used their idea. And we put one of our people with diabetes. It was a diabetes calendar. And the only different one was two of my grandchildren were in it. For some
I
reason.
remember that calendar. You
Yeah.
used to give Richard and I one for years and years. Yeah, it was a great calendar. Thank you.
But the Print Mart in Livingston did that for us, and he did a great job. And Salina Lumber Company, the Clay County government, the city mayor's office, Salina, Hermitage Springs Park Board, the Clay County Department of Education, the Clay County Senior Citizen, Barkey Beaver, Mulch Incorporated, Clay County Housing Authority, Scott's Best Way, Walmart of Tompkinsville, and I'll tell you a little bit about Walmart. It's in Kentucky, but we went up there and we had fun up there. I'll tell you about it in a minute. The Citizens Bank and Bank of Salina and Hermitage Springs Bank, and the Hermitage Springs Church of Christ, the Clay County Parks and Recreation Board, the Clay County Agriculture Extension Agent Randall Kimes, the WTVF Radio in Salina, Dr. Lee Copeland, Candy Powers, the information officer from the Cookville Regional Hospital. She's one of the people that really helped us a lot, and she had all of Cookville Regional behind her, but she also came over and worked for the Clay County Hospital. So that was really a good deal for us, and we loved her. She was such a sweet person. Okay, now the first thing that I got, I think I sent you a copy of it, was the examples of support people in Clay County, the people that we partnered with. And the first diabetes support group education class was held in the cafeteria at the Cumberland River Hospital on Wednesday, September the 27th. And I didn't put the year, I think it was 2016 though. Dr. Lee Copeland, one of the hospitals here, he's a pediatrician. One of the doctors here. He gave a very informative lecture explaining the disease of diabetes and discussing the devastating complications of uncontrolled diabetes. There were about 20 residents there from the Clay County residents. We had advertised it a lot, and they came. They participated, about 20. There were a lot of questions that Dr. Copeland explained very ably and succinctly. After the lecture and period of questions and answers, the participants were served samples of dishes made from recipes for people with diabetes. The dishes were made by the dietary department at the Cumberland River Hospital. The Clay County Diabetes Grant was obtained through efforts of the Clay County Health Council and the Clay County Health Department. The Health Council and the Health Department would like to thank Dr. Lee Copeland for his gracious support, Cumberland River Hospital for providing a place to meet, and the dietary workers for their delicious recipes. The next meeting of the group class was on Monday, November 13th, 2006 in the cafeteria at the Cumberland River Hospital. And the topics were the effects of food on blood sugar. But let me say something about the hospital now. Our hospital closed and we don't have a hospital anymore. So we have to either go to Livingston or Cookville to the hospital. And we lost a lot of support there for everybody in the community.
Yes, hold on just a minute. He was expecting your call, I think.
Okay, the effect of food on blood sugar and label reading. The topics were presented by Beth Walker, a registered dietitian. She was the registered dietitian at the Salina Hospital when we did that. The class was free and anybody who was interested was invited to attend. So Clay County is a small rural agrarian county in the northeast section of Middle Tennessee. Our population is 7,800 people. The state of Tennessee recently released county health rankings and road maps, which was compiled by the University of Wisconsin Population Health Institute. Clay County's ranking and health outcome rankings was 72 out of the 92 counties. Length of life for premature death was 85. Clinical care was 90. Socioeconomic was 85, probably because of our plain rural environment. Our physical environment was ranked at 26 of 92. In the Upper Cumberland cluster, 14 counties, Clay County health factors were ranked 13 of 14, and health outcomes were ranked as 11 of 14 for 2016. Okay. We've got some things here. We were in the Diabetes Coalition, we were talking about that time of trying to get health policies into the county. And so I wrote a bunch of policies and everything and took them to the county governor or county mayor. And he wasn't real excited about getting a list of things. But anyway, these are what we put in it. And we have gotten a big grant for redoing the sidewalks and things in town to help people walk more and just for the whole town. And when I was on the committee that was on that and helped decide how to do things, and I brought that in, and so they put that in that grant, the things that we recommended. And I got most of those things from the Diabetes Coalition way or the other. But anyway, the health voluntary policies for city county government. Voluntary smoke-free community events, promote no smoking in cars with young children or youth. Voluntary smoke-free parks, enforce policies of not selling smoking products to minors. Promote free services for quitting tobacco use, such as Tennessee Tobacco Quit Line. Support for programs such as Clay County Anti-Drug Coalition, because they do a lot of the same things that we do. They promote health and stopping smoking and using tobacco products. Okay, the next one is school nurses and nutrition services supervisor and the school system to provide nutrition education. And the city county government, the water departments provide healthy water according to state and federal guidelines. When landscaping new or existing areas or refurbishing old areas, consider using food-bearing plants, herbs, or trees rather than other varieties as appropriate. Allow the public to use the fruits. Examples would be apple trees, blueberry bushes, and rosemary. So that we really wanted to do that, and they put that in the plan. Promote farmers market and community gardens. Example, on public land not in use, construct raised garden plots and rent out for $25 a year and require lease to sign the contract for the upkeep of the garden. And we do have a farmer's market, and they come to the square around the courthouse is where a lot of them come. And then there's a place at where the old grade school used to be. That's just a gravelled area where the parking lot was. And so a lot of them go there. So we actually have two places, but it's all from the same thing from the city. So the next one is support nutrition education efforts in the community. Jail to grow garden for use of inmates using inmate labor. And they've been doing that for several years. And that's good for them because they get some fresh fruits and vegetables and things. The jail to provide nutritious meals according to state regulations and provide healthy snacks in snack machines. And that I think was for the school and for the jail. Several groups in the county have been looking at the health of their citizens, including the Clay County Diabetes Coalition, the Clay County Anti-Drug Coalition, the Farmers Market Group, the Clay County Health Council, and the Healthy Tennessee Group. There are several things that we can do in order to increase our rankings, but more important, to improve the health of our citizens. Health behaviors, clinical care, social and economic factors, and physical environment are the four areas we need to focus on. Clay County having food security and health policy actions will point us in the direction we need to go in order to attain our goal of the highest level of health possible for people in our county. Our recommendations were included in the Salina Walks plan, and that's what that grant was about, the Salina Walks plan. And so when we get that started, that'll be good. So yeah.
Jane, we had a comment in the, I just want to share with you in the chat box from Angie, and she said she really liked the idea of considering fruit-bearing plants and or herbs when landscaping new areas or refurbishing the landscaping and existing areas.
Well, that's good. That's wonderful. And we hope that we're going to have that. We've had a city park for a long time, and it's on the Obie River that goes into the Cumberland River, and it's been there for several years. And a lot of it that was next to the river, there were a lot of trees, and there were all kinds of blackberry bushes. And when the blackberries were in season, there were people over there all the time picking blackberries. And you know, that was good because people were using them and everything, and they were big old fat berries. They were pretty and they were good. And so, you know, doing that is a good thing. And those were just naturally there when they built the park. You know, they just spread themselves. But okay, is that the box that I need to read when it comes up?
No, I can read it for you. That's just some people, you know, just comment in the chat box, and they may have a question or a comment. So I just wanted to share that with you, you know, just to give you a thumbs up there because of the good work that you guys are doing. Jane, I have a question. You referred, you had mentioned that you guys had lost your hospital. When did you say you lost your hospital?
Well, it's been over a year.
Mm-hmm.
May have been 2 years. Dr. Young would know, but he had to go out. He had a phone call.
Yeah.
If he comes back in, we'll ask him. But if anybody wants to buy a hospital, come right ahead.
Yeah. So where do people go now? You know, for care?
I go to Tompkinsville, that's in Kentucky, because we are up against, you know, we have a border with that town, with Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
And so the people in that end of the county go there. If they're over in the Hermitage Springs area, they usually go to the Macon County Hospital, and that's where I worked before I came here into the Livingston Hospital. And then the others go to Livingston, which is in the other direction, or they go to Cookville. And so it just depends on, you know, we had a lot of people with COVID that went to Cookville, And then they had COVID beds in Livingston and just a lot, different places, depending on where they live or where their doctor is or where they want to.
Mhm.
But, okay, the next thing I've got is the Diabetes Coalition presents dental hygiene program for the 7th and 8th graders. And on March the 20th and 24th, Wendy Spitzig, registered nurse, and she's part of our program, part of our coalition. She's not had good health lately. A member of the Clay County Diabetes Coalition gave a presentation to the 7th and 8th graders of Salina K-8 and Hermitage Springs schools. She spoke about the importance of good dental hygiene and proper brushing and flossing techniques. She encouraged the students to increase their drinking of water and to decrease their intake of sugar-laden drinks and snacks. She demonstrated a comparison of the actual amount of sugar content of these products. She ended her presentation with a brief discussion of the risks of using smokeless tobacco and nicotine-containing products. By seeing a model of the Mr. Dip Lip, the students were able to visually gain insight into the potential damage that these nicotine-containing products can cause. Each student was given a free toothbrush, information on proper flossing techniques, and a bottle of water. And that went real well. The kids liked that. Okay, we were gonna ask you something when you came back.
Okay.
It was,
Sorry, I got a phone call I couldn't turn down.
that's okay. How long has the hospital been gone?
The hospital started in 1966, if I'm not badly mistaken.
Yeah, or 67, somewhere along in there.
Yeah,
And how long how long's it been since it's been,
or 2019, when it closed down.
2019, so we were about that.
Thank you.
Besides being a loss, as far as a healthcare center is concerned, it's an economic loss. We lost about 100 jobs right there.
Sure.
And we're a distressed county, and that sure didn't help things. Because those were, most of those jobs were above average kind of pay. And so we've been trying to get that back open, and we're working on a deal right now to get a local community college to bring classes over here and utilize that facility to teach respiratory therapy and classes like that in that building. Because they have everything right there that they need. I've kind of dreamed about turning it into a medical school. I had a student once who was trying to get in med school and couldn't find one anywhere. And he came to my office one day and he wanted me to do him another a letter of recommendation. Come to find out, he was applying in Kentucky at a community college at a medical school. No, they don't have medical schools at community. Yeah, they do. I wheeled around and sure enough, they did. They have since moved it to Lincoln Memorial University. No, what is that Lincoln University up in that neck of the woods?
Up on the other side of Knoxville,
Yeah,
it's called Lincoln, it's right by the Cumberland
Yeah.
Gap.
and they moved the medical school down there anyway, and it's I'm just gonna keep on dreaming. We'll just start us a medical school here. Give me some
Thank you.
ARC money and go.
Yeah,
That sounds far-fetched, and it is.
but we got the building and all the stuff, we just need the people.
We could do it there.
Okay, these are the food security and health suggestions for Clay County. First is the food security. And this is for the hospital. Vending machines to provide healthy choices, visitors and family members of patients to be allowed to purchase healthy meals in the hospital cafeteria. Hospital and personnel to sponsor community health fairs and health education related activities at least twice per year. And so they were going to help us, with our activities. The vending machines sell only 100% fruit juice and water and drink machines. Menus to be written according to healthy state guidelines. Elementary schools consider having one birthday party per month for birthdays in that month in order to cut down on high sugar, high fat snacks typically brought in by parents. And one of the teachers told me that they had birthday parties all the time, and they always had high calorie, high sugar snacks, high fat snacks. Of course, they probably brought cupcakes with all the icing and everything. But one of the teachers was just kind of aggravated about it, and so we put that in there. And I'm thinking they do that now. Do you know if they do?
Oh, I know, I think that at one time they cut down on it.
Yeah, I think that they probably went down to one a month, and the ones in that month got to have their party there all together. The nutrition education and physical activity to be incorporated into each classroom's curricula. Example, pedals under the desk of students so they can exercise while studying. Pupils growing individual plants to understand where and how food is grown. Now, another thing we did with them was, I think we got them a water bottle filler and with a water fountain. And we did several things like that. And we also partnered with the phys ed teachers, and they started doing exercises for their PE instead of this, not really doing anything. And I think we provided water for that and everything. And so that was that, and the teachers really enjoyed that because they were trying to get that done and they needed some help to let the Board of Education, I guess, understand what they were doing. But
Jane, are there one or two programs or activities that you're most proud of that you feel have had the most impact on the health in your community?
well, one of the things that comes to mind, we did the right bike class, and we did all of those things that you all offer that we were taught how to do, and we did all of that. But one of the things that we did was when we were trying to find somewhere to hold our classes, the diabetes classes that we had. And so we went over to the fairgrounds, and there was a women's building over there. It's a great big building, and we had our classes in there. And we also had some money, and so we decided that we would spend that money if they got another part to it from a grant. And so we told them that we would outfit the kitchen if they would let us use it as a place to demonstration kitchen. And so we planned it all and everything, and we had where they usually would hand the food out. We had a big roll down thing that would lock, and so we could close it up and everything. And we had places for all of our pots and pans, and everybody that had pots and pans. And I think we may have had a shower for it. Do you remember if we did that or not?
I think you did.
That sounds familiar to me.
I think I remember that too, because is that the same building that we did the gentle yoga training into that had the kitchen and everything? I remember you talking about a shower that you guys did to stock all that.
And we've got a plaque there that says that we gave the stove, refrigerator, and everything, and the cabinets through the Diabetes Coalition.
Yeah, I love that idea though. That's really innovative, because it's costly to, especially if you turn a place into, a kitchen and you're going to utilize that for cooking demonstrations and education and things like that, is to have like a community shower to help, supply those kitchen needs. So that's really a great idea.
When our hospital was first built in 67 or 68, and through there, when they got it all built and everything, they did a linen shower, and the whole community brought pillowcases and sheets and blankets and things like that. And so that's where the idea came from. And so it just kind of stuck.
Yeah.
But that's where we had our eating well with diabetes and everything.
And the kitchen itself was built with a grant from Tennessee Tech.
Mm-hmm.
Got $35,000, and that's not very much money. So we had to build it with volunteer labor, including the inmates down at the jail.
Yeah.
They had some skilled people down there, and I remember one time we had two 70-year-old guys on the roof tying the two buildings together. And
Wow.
then it turned into two restrooms and handicap accessible restrooms and the kitchen. And then this group came along and made excellent use of it. They just did a bang up job.
We had
That's wonderful.
we had, of course, we used the prisoners for things too, and we were having like a health fair with something, I don't remember if it was the start of the fair or what, but anyway, we had some of the prisoners there, and some woman came up to me and said, "Is he a prisoner? Will he hurt us?" And we just, we just all interacted with them like they were regular people, but our jail, our sheriff lets them do a lot of things that, that helps, and they're still prisoners and they have to go back, but they get to work a lot.
Sure. And that's wonderful that you do that. That also helps them, that helps them with their confidence, and it also helps them, keep their skills intact as well. And then if they exit, out of the community, it's better for them as well. Does anyone have any questions for Jane or for Dr. Young?
Well, I had to step out for a minute. I don't know whether Jane mentioned this or not. Where I got involved in this thing, I was at a meeting in a neighboring county, and the mayor of one of the towns looked on the wall with a bunch of old school pictures. And he asked me if I saw anything unusual about those old school pictures. And I didn't. Everybody has seen those old school pictures from the turn of the 20th century. And he pointed out to me that there weren't any obese kids in it. And when I started looking at the line of pictures down through there, just practically no obese children. And now you have a picture of those classes, and there'll be several obese kids. And so we partnered with this group, and I was in the process of writing a grant proposal right then. We just wrote that in and then got it funded. And one of the metrics that I used was to lower the BMI on the students at the local elementary school. And at the end of the year, if I'm not badly mistaken, Jane, they reported that they had lowered the BMI by 14%.
Yeah, it was a good.
That was huge to be able to do that in 1 year's time. But you heard all the things that they were doing, the exercise programs, even when they were in class and all of that. But to make a 14% difference in a BMI in 1 year was just phenomenal.
Absolutely. And I think the one of the values in these small rural communities, distressed counties, as most of you who are even on the call are from, is it's really, it's people like you all that live in the community. Your families were raised here. You have an investment in your community, and you love where you live and the people that you serve, and your family and friends are all there. And so it's local people doing great things like you guys that really make the difference. And just something as simple as eyeballing those pictures and just looking at the difference there, that's something else. I mean, How motivational was that? Very inspiring.
Need to mention another person or two. Randall Kimes, he was our county agent then, agriculture agent. And he helped us with the cabinets down there. He had a friend that would make them and give us a good discount on it. And so he did all the work. He contacted the people and told them how to fix it the way we wanted it. And all we had to do was pay for the discount fee of it. And we had beautiful cabinets. And that room is really used a lot. It's used as a snack bar, you know, when we have something going on for the fair or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
The nurse from the health department came and helped us teach our classes when we taught it there. And we had a lot of people, and then Greta was there and she taught, and then I taught. And so we had a lot of people that came, and they were older people. And we had a pretty large class, probably 20 or so at a time. And I still see them around, and I saw one the other day, and I asked her how things were going, and she's doing well with her diabetes and everything. So I think that helped a lot.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And also the lumber company, the Salina Lumber Company, they gave us the refrigerator and stove at a discount price too. They have a granddaughter that had diabetes, juvenile diabetes, and so they were happy to help and everything. So just, you know, we just tried to include everybody in the county that we could, and people knew what we were trying to do, and they were happy to help us.
Jane, are you guys, I recall at maybe it was a year or two ago, you submitted a success story about there were marbles involved.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, could you tell me a little bit more about that? Because I know it's a lot of people gather from all over the country, is my understanding.
Well, it is, and we're right where it came through. They came through the Cumberland Gap, you know, when our ancestors came, and they brought marbles with them. And we had a man here who made them, and he was just famous in the marble business. And we've got a lot of people. I've got a classmate, Travis, and everybody that are really working on the marbles. And we have a marble yard at every schoolhouse, and the kids go out and play it. And so it's their heritage. And we have the Diabetes Coalition helped with the marble building. They built them a building so they could play marbles, and they play inside. And we had some money, and we gave it to them, and they're building. They're enclosing another place where the younger kids can play. What they call it's where they stand and shoot, and it goes in the hole, isn't it? Is what
Rolly hole, it's called.
Yeah. And so it's really good. And it was on one of the sports network. Did you see that? It was,
Yeah.
It came through, it went to Tompkinsville, and it talked about their people that played marbles up there. And then there's a man out at Moss that's got a big one in his yard, and the men go there and play. And then they come over here and play, and then they go to Standing Stone in Overton County. Part of it's in Clay County, but it's a big deal here.
Yeah, and it's a great way to promote physical activity in a fun way. And it's something, you know, that you guys have done for years and years and years.
It's really amazing how much you can get done with such small grants. A lot of people don't go after those small ones, but we managed to do that. They had a roof that they had their marble yard under, and we got a grant to wrap it with walls. And then that allowed them to play in the wintertime. They got them some wood stoves and got the kids involved in the wintertime, coming out and playing marbles. And now as part of our heritage, we've got a grant to restore our old courthouse. And we're turning one room of that courthouse into a roly hole marble museum. And that'll become a tourist attraction. A lot of people don't know about roly hole marbles. And so again, the grant money just keeps us going. We don't have the money on our own. We just can provide the expertise and the labor.
Sure. So Dr. Young, tell us about where, because it sounds like that you guys do a lot with grant funding. You know, you guys are a small rural county, and you have to have those types of grants. So tell us where you guys seek funding from, like when, you know, who are these organizations, and where would be good places for the folks that are just like Urals County that are on our call today could seek more funding?
Well, locally, our telephone co-op offers $5,000 grants, and we've been successful in getting one of those every year. I can just get one every 3 years for the chamber. But then on the off years, like right now, I'm writing a grant proposal for the ambulance service. They need some onboard computers for our ambulances. And I think they stand a pretty good chance of getting that. That's just a $5,000 grant. But $5,000 will buy these computers for the ambulances. We've got a $25,000 grant right now. We're training our merchants downtown in how to better market their stores, how to make their store a destination. We've got a grant now that allows us to have a tourism director here in the chamber that we haven't had before. And two of those grants come from one comes from the Department of Tourism, and the other one comes from the Department of Economic Community Development. We also have a 3-star program that we've been doing for several years, and we get one of those about every year. We've been successful with that, and that's the only program that I know of. And I remind legislators often, and I'll be doing that again tomorrow. I'll be in Nashville tomorrow talking to some senator and representative, and reminding them that the 3-star program is the only program I know of that allows us to get the community together in an asset-based strategic planning meeting and decide what we want to do with $50,000. And the rest of the grants that we have to go after are targeted. Only the 3-star program allows us to come up with what we want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the grants come from the state. We don't go after these grants that they're just going to give 3 in the whole United States. that
Right.
Be a waste of time. But
Right.
kind of like winning the lottery on those. But
Sure.
there's a lot of the smaller grants around that about any community could go after. I'm sure every state has them.
And a good partner is the Chamber of Commerce. I mean, you guys seem to, you guys are a go-getter. You guys have really helped your community. And so really embrace that. So thank you.
Last year on the 3-star program, we did something interesting. The Corps of Engineers had allowed the tennis court in their park to run down. Well, the city decided that they'd like to take over that park. Well, we wrote a proposal to lease the park for 25 years for the city. Took them 2 years to say yes, but they finally did. And then we got a grant to redo their tennis court, which is hadn't been played on since 2006. They'd allowed it to run down, and so we were able to go in and completely renovate the tennis court and the basketball court. And as a matter of fact, next Tuesday night we'll be having our second pickleball clinic. We've got a guy coming from a neighboring town teaching our people to play pickleball. And so we're keeping the exercise going there.
Absolutely. Great job, guys. I love this. Lots of information. if it's not too much trouble, Dr. Young, if you could maybe put together between now and the next few weeks or so, just a list of some of those places that that others can seek grant funding from, that would be really helpful. And that way I can share it out to all of our other county diabetes coalition leaders and coordinators, and share that information out there.
Have those, have your coalition leaders, every coalition should have a Jane Miller in it.
Most of them do. I tell you, that's the beauty of, the network of these coalitions, because they're small, rural, distressed counties. Some have grocery stores, some don't. Some have hospitals and some don't. And there's always those community champions. And these ladies that are on this call right now, it's like you guys are all clones of each other, and you all wear tons and tons of hats that you wear, different hats, but the one sure thing that you wear the hat of a champion, for your community. Each and every one of you do, and there's just, you just can't put a price tag on that. Just can't. So I have a habit of talking a lot. We've got about 10 minutes, but if you guys have any questions, holler at us and put it in chat box, or just speak up. And if you do, I'll give you about 20-30 seconds to chime in. And if not, Jane, I'll turn it back over to you and Dr. Young.
One of the things that I had kind of forgotten, we had Shopping Matters, and we did it at the local grocery store, and they fixed everything up real nice, and they had all the fruits and vegetables and all of the milk and all the stuff that we were going to talk about. And we invited several different people. We invited the seniors from the high school, because we thought they were going to be going to college or being out on their own, and they need to know how to shop and actually get the actual price, per serving and everything. And we went to several different communities. We had one group that had a lot of young fathers that were, I guess the mothers were working or something, I don't know, but the men came, and they were, like 19 or something along in there. And they just did so good. We had one man, they had to fill their shopping cart with $10, and we would give them $10 to buy healthy food with when they got finished. And this one fella got up to the checkout, and he had his within like 10 cents of the $10. And they just did so well. And we really enjoyed that. But let me tell you, we went to Tompkinsville, to Walmart, because we did that at Hermitage Springs because it was a lot closer, because they're and so we went to Walmart, and we were going to do $10 and all that, and they were supposed to follow me, I think. And we opened the doors, and every one of them grabbed a cart, and we couldn't find them. Way back in the store. So if you ever take them to Walmart, don't let them get a cart.
I hear you.
But they just evaporated like roaches.
Yeah.
And a lot of, and then they used their $10, and we wouldn't let them have anything that wasn't healthy.
Yeah.
But they all enjoyed that. That was one of our favorite things.
That's great.
One of the most unhealthy things that I'm seeing now, and I'll plead guilty, Sometimes I stop by a convenience market on my way to the chamber in the mornings, and when school's going on, I'll almost get run over trying to get in with kids going in and buying. They're buying $10 worth of breakfast, and that's not a whole lot. They'll get a couple of biscuits and a cinnamon roll and a big tall drink of some kind, and it's $10. I didn't have that kind of money to spend when I was a kid, but we have a free breakfast for them at the school, but it's healthy. They don't want that healthy stuff. They're still eating and gaining weight and becoming obese and all that, and just drives me wild that we're not beating them over the heads and teaching them better than that.
Yeah, yeah. It'll take time and patience, and just keep on keeping on, trying to, educate the parents and make them more aware and of what the kids are putting in their mouths. Yeah. Well, we've got about 5 or 6 more minutes, and you guys just.
One other observation that I've made in this community and a lot of other communities now, we are beginning to lose our civic organizations that used to be a help to things like the Lions Club took care of eyeglasses. Before eyeglasses, we had a program where you could get your eyeglasses, and civic clubs all have something like that going on for them. But in our rural communities now, we're losing those civic clubs, and it was kind of strange to me that all of a sudden that this would start happening, but it didn't happen all of a sudden. It gradually happened. Back when I was a kid, a long time ago, we didn't have Little League ball. We didn't have Diaper League football. We didn't have all these athletic events that kids have today. On my way home in the afternoons, I could see 50, 75, 100 cars sitting in the parking lots at the ball fields. Now, Mom and Daddy just got home from work and gathered the kids up, and they've got to go practice. And they don't feel that they're too tired then to do civic organizations, plus all this exercise that the kids are getting. We're losing that. We need those volunteers. We need those people to take care of their kids, yes. But let's keep our civic organizations going, making a contribution to our communities. And I see that as a great weakness in most of the communities now. I really don't know what to do about it.
It's even in the big cities, because my daughter-in-law was telling me about an instance where somebody was wanting people to help him get his daughter to something, and she was going to have to drive all the way into Nashville to help him, and she just said she couldn't do it. And people they're just not doing volunteerism. They don't. And maybe the one that like that man was asking a little bit too much, but anyway, there are a lot of people around that are still volunteering, but not as many as we need.
So does anyone that's on our call today, does anyone have any a resource or success stories or something that might, where you guys may have more volunteers than what Clay County is experiencing, or if you guys have a secret to getting volunteers and getting people involved? I think the youth, as kids don't have the opportunities to volunteer these days, and so therefore they grow up and then they just don't do it. But is anybody on the call that has experience that might be able to share with Mr. Young and Jane how you guys recruit volunteers, or if you guys are any kind of help?
Sounds like everybody's having a problem.
We have a pretty good volunteer base, but we're from such a small community that everybody knows everybody, and we just ask, and usually people show up. We are in a very community minded location, so we're blessed in that regard.
And that was Christy Young, Doug, or Christy Young, goodness, Halsey. And she's in Wyoming County, West Virginia. So that's down in the southern coal fields of West Virginia. But they have a pretty large volunteer opportunity. You guys work with AmeriCorps members a lot too, don't you, Christy?
We do. Yes, we have 5 positions here through AmeriCorps Vistas. And then last December, we had something called the Love Project that comes out of Tennessee. They came here and we hosted, and we served 3,080 people. We had, they said that in 12 years of putting that on, and they go to different places each year, that ours had the largest local volunteer base, and we had around 200 volunteers for that.
Christy, how are you funding those AmeriCorps people?
The government pays for them. If we've been approved to be a site for AmeriCorps Vistas. We started off with 3. I could probably email you and give you some names of some contacts just to see if you can learn. Dewey Houck, who started the organization here, was the one who started it. So I couldn't give you any advice on that, but we started off with 3. And then last year we were approved for 2 more. So we have 5 that are here at Rail.
Well, we've had some AmeriCorps guys here. I've worked with them, but they still not worked with one probably in 5 years. But they still cost us about $8,000 a piece.
Oh wow!
And we funded that part. Let's see, we had 2 of them, and in separate years. We had one this year, another one the next year, and it just got too costly for us.
Mm-hmm.
And I wondered if you were getting some kind of a financial support somewhere to pay the $8,000.
No, we have, we pay for like travel and things like that for them, but what they, what they do far exceeds that.
Well, that's strange. I wonder why we were paying $8,000.
I'm not for sure. Maybe it's a different grant.
Yeah.
Usually there's a community match that you pay so much, and then the grant pays so much, and then there's like a match at whatever organization that you're with. But I'll be sure to when I send out the recording, which will take maybe a week or so to get, I'll be sure to share email addresses. Christy, and I can probably go ahead and send you Doug's, and that way you guys can, if you want to send him any information about that. Well, we are about to wrap up. Does anybody have any final questions or comments?
Well, I enjoyed getting to talk with all y'all.
Me too. And it's great seeing you, Jane. Great meeting you, Doug. And I really appreciate everybody who joined us today. And I'll get the recording out later, but so bear with us. It takes a little while to get it out, and we'll have all the email addresses and things like that of everybody be on there. So I thank you guys, and Jane, be sure and say hello to Sheila and Dean from me when you see them next time. I love those ladies.
They're
And,
not in good health right now.
yeah,
And as
Thank
Chamber Commerce Director, we invite all of you to come down to Dale Hollow Lake, the #1 houseboating lake in the country.
I have been there. I have been there and it is absolutely beautiful. Yeah. So thank you all very much for joining us today and great presentation. Thanks, Doug and Jane.
Thank you.
All right. Have a great day, guys.
Bye-bye.
I'm gonna give Doug his apron now.
Okay. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.
There it is.
Can't get my apron off. There it is. See how pretty that is?
Meeting,
Two pockets.
turn the volume off and turn the